Hi, everybody. I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. So today I'm painting a landscape. It's a picture I took in Chile of my daughter-in-law's uncle's farm, and I'm going to give it a try. I want to paint it wet and wet for the most part, and then just get a little bit more detailed, but not real detailed with the cows. The only cows I really want to get any kind of detail on are these two up front. And I'm just trying to paint what her uncle would see if he stepped out on his farm. I would like it to be recognizable as a place on his farm. Not specifically each cow, but the general landscape and the feel of it. So if that sounds like fun to you and sounds like something you would like to watch, then please stick around. And if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be wonderful. So I'm going to start by mixing up some blue for my sky. And I'm using this paint that I bought in Chile. It's handmade paint. And this one is phthalo blue. And I just want to get a good amount of pigment down. I think I'm going to squirt the other ones here that I'm using. I have a hematite, chromium green, and indigo blue. I want to say denim blue. Well, makes sense really, but anyway. I think what I want to do though is get a brush that's not quite so floppy to do this part, so I can really get some of that pigment, because it's a big sheet of paper. Oh, there's one more thing I really want to do before I get too far here. And I think I'll leave that for a second. I just want to run some tape around the edge. I don't want to do too much because I don't want it to be small, too small to easily frame. I want it to be a standard size, and usually frames allow for about 1/4 of an inch around the edge. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. Because I've run into problems where I'm trying to frame something that I have masked around the edges, and it's just shy of filling a standard mat, and that's kind of a pain. So I don't want to put anybody in that position, but I would like to do it with some tape around the edges. Oh no. Where did that come from? Ah, my brush got in it. Okay, you little paints you got to go up there. Yes. A little indigo and a little hematite. Not really the way I intended to start this painting. But it will be fine. One more piece of tape down. Lost the end of it and all that. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Now, what I used to draw in was water-soluble pencil. So a lot of my marks are going to disappear a little bit here. That's okay too. And I'm not trying to match this photograph. I am trying to get a feeling similar to what is in the photograph. Now what I would like to do is take tissue and secure my clouds a little bit, because I find that this makes a nice way to get clouds. Nice soft edge, nice fluffy clouds. And I want to add just a little of this Venetian red. And get some shadow in my clouds a little bit. And while it is still wet, I'm going to re-wet it. Now I want the chromium green. Just want to add a touch of indigo to it and kind of dull it down. And this is going to be the back. What I would like to see is the green kind of move into the blue a little bit. I kind of want trees that are tall and coming from the ground down here, but they're sticking up above this tree line that's behind them. It's really interesting. There are these whole row of really straight trees, and over here they just kind of catch up with the trees that were behind them to about there. And I would like to drop in a little bit of some darker green, just for some interest and depth in this tree line. When I took this picture, I had not bought this paint yet. Okay, there's a really bright lit tree over on the side here. And there's another one over here. And they kind of have a shadow. There's another one down at the other end that's a little bit light. Some small bushes like. And there's some dark. I think I'm going to let this dry before I try and do anything else. So I will be back in a few. Actually, I think I might do some lifting, and then I'll be back in a few. Because I want to do this while it's still wet. Okay, now I think I am going to wait until this dries and come back. Okay, so it's dry and I'm back, and I'm going to work on, there's a tall tree right here, and I'm going to work on its leaves. It's kind of a gray, maybe a little bit of a rusty feeling in it. Because they're not all in the exact right spots, but that is not something I am going to concern myself with. Okay, let's get some tree trunks in here. I'm going to try and use a flat brush and lift a little bit over there for that trunk instead of painting it in dark, because it is actually light. This one is like that too. Let's rough some cows in, I think. Kind of just block them in a little bit. Okay, so that's roughly where our cows are going to be. Okay, now this is a really bright green, so I'm going to use the green gold from Daniel Smith. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the chromium with it. But I want to really get that bright green. While it's still wet, I want to go around these cows a little bit better. As it's drying, I want to get shadows in there for these cattle, but I need to let it get a little drier first. Because right now it's just going blah. That's a technical term. Blah. And I, I don't want blah. I want to get some shadows. Some texture down here. It's going to kind of blur out, but that's okay. So I needed to stop for the day, and now I'm coming back, and I need to work on this cow a little bit. He's not quite right. So I'm just going to doctor him up, and I'm going to work on just these two main cows and maybe a little bit on the other cows to get them looking a little more like their picture. Part of that means lifting some of what I have here. Okay, I want to do a little glazing over the grassy parts and maybe some spatters for the white, all the little white flowers. So I'm going to try my really, really skinny little brush here. See if I can make that do what I want it to do. want a little bit darker green. I'm sorry, this is hard to see when I use this brush because I'm inevitably right on top of it is how I seem to make it work the best. And it's not the best for you guys being able to see what the heck I'm doing. Just want to get that little bit of that directional grassy feel, which would definitely be more pronounced in the foreground than it would be in the background because it's just too far away. But here in the front, you can really kind of see these little white flowers. What it does too is make these cows step back a little bit. And their being not so detailed then is they're less the focal point. That's what makes them less important. Sorry about this. I know you can't see what I'm doing really well. Just getting some grass under those cows. I want just a little darker green here to intersperse with the lighter green because it's definitely not all one color. A little bit in the middle. Wouldn't be quite as big of blades. I don't really want it lined up like tears, as in layers, not tears as in crying. I don't want those either. I'd like get that feel up there a little bit too. Okay, I would like to get some white flowers down here. But I really don't want them up high. I am actually going to put down some spatter guards. I know I don't do this hardly ever. Like just in too much of a hurry and just don't want to bother. But this time I really trying not to spatter some of these things. Like I don't really want to get the cows because they're not spotted. And I don't want to get the sky. So let's try that and see what we get. And I think I think actually what I want is toothbrush. I find a toothbrush works really well if I want fine spatter, and I kind of think that's what I want. We're going to find out. Let me find a clean surface to get some gouache out in. My gouache has watercolor medium in it already, my white gouache. So it's already kind of creamy. Okay, I'm getting some nice fine flowers. That's always a good thing. So now I want a little bigger spatters. Oh, that's way too big. See, every time. It was a little too juicy. I don't mind that. That's about what I want. There. I just want some bigger ones in the mix. All right, let's see what we got. Now, I could put more detail on the cows in the back, but I don't want to do too much because I really want them as just an impression. I'm just going to hit this guy because he's almost gone. Just trying to give the impression that there's other cows in the field. Okay, I think I'm going to call it done. I don't know what her uncle will think of it. My daughter-in-law's uncle. It's his farm. But that part up there really reads to me the way that it felt when we were there, that way that the tree line looked. So I'm happy with that. It generally gives me the impression of where we were and how it felt. So I hope it feels like that for him too, because I think I might send it with them if they're happy with it when they go back to Chile. And I hope you enjoyed watching me paint this. I know I had to speed it up a little bit. Took part of the paper. Let me heat that up a little bit. There we go. So I thought I would take it off the block for you. The trick is finding the opening. And I'm not familiar enough with this block to know, there it is. See how you can tell? I don't know if you can see that, but see it's shiny and then it isn't shiny right in here. That's where it is. And I'm so not used to painting on 300-pound paper that it always feels like I'm taking off 2 sheets. This is a thumb scraper for kitchens. For whatever you need to scrape in a kitchen, on a counter or a bottle or whatever. And it works really nicely to remove the paper without damaging the next paper because it's plastic. So there we go. Anyway, I really appreciate your being here. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will be doing more pictures that I took in Chile. I'm quite certain because I took quite a few. So if you would like to see those, just check out my channel. And if you would like to, please check out my Etsy shop where I have prints of my artwork along with cute little monsters and other fun stuff for sale.